Oh, ho, ho. You are looking live at the NASDAQ, which was up 81 points today, or 0.54%, and closed at 15,074. The Santa Claus rally is well underway. Today, I thought it was going to be a slow day, but it certainly wasn't. It started off that way in pre-market, and some people were teasing me this morning, like the market seems like had too much eggnog and it was really slow and sleepy and hungover. I went out and hit some golf balls, and I come back, and lo and behold, this market was ripping higher. I designate these three legs down with this 12% correction here across the board, peak to trough. We had our follow through day. We ran up through the moving averages, got into this power trend. We pulled back here one time, just ripped higher. Then we had this little air pocket here last Wednesday. This market just wants to continue higher. And I just have to note the volume here, because typically this time of year we get lower volume, but this is well above average here. You can see today's volume is 22% above this average daily volume, which is this pink line here. So very strong volume. This is a little not normal behavior for this Santa Claus rally, which occurs this week in the first two trading days into January. But we'll take it. I mean, the trend is going to be our friend, and we're not going to fight the tape. We're just going to let our winners ride, and I'm going to get to that in a little bit. But I wanted to point out not only the Nasdaq is doing well, and since I've got the Nasdaq here, I have to point out the weekly. This 16,212 is not that far off with the close at 15,074 today. So keep that in mind. That's the Nasdaq's old high. But the Dow Jones Industrial Average continues, it had this old high of 36,952, which it made at the beginning of January 22. So it's almost been 2 years. It took that out. And then on last week, it made a high of 37,641. Could not eclipse that today, but came pretty darn close. We look at the daily here. It was that one reversal day on Wednesday when it ran higher, then made that inverted hammer candle, which spooked some folks, including me. And then it had an inside day, and it's just continuing higher. So maybe it'll take out the 37,641 tomorrow or later on this week. But anyway, I wanted to get to what I consider to be an important event or important activity, or what's going on in the market, and that's the IWM, the Russell 2000 ETF. This thing has sold off for nearly 3 years here. It's been 3 years since it sold off from November of 2021, which was not. Get back here, Marty. What is this? Yeah. So from March of 21, it was at 226. Had this consolidation, then sold off. So it has been nearly 3 years, but I'm more concerned with this last couple of years here, where it's just formed this stage one base, just consolidating at this stage one level, and now is breaking out above it. If I go to the daily chart, you can see the kind of the base on base pattern. There's your breakout. Now it's running higher. So this, you could say that this is just starting to break out, and could be a big runner in 2024. I know the bears will say, well, gosh, they don't have the earnings in these small cap stocks, but we just got to go by the charts, and this chart's going higher. So this is showing an awful lot of strength. I'm going to go to the Russell and go to the weekly, because this shows this how it hit this bottom here of 1641, retested, then recently undercut it just a little bit, then ramped, shook everybody out, and then started just ramping higher. And closed today at 2059, which takes out these old highs from way back when. And so I'd say 2138 would be that next level that it would need to take out. And the way this thing's going, it won't take it very long. Today was up 25 points, or 1.24%. So it was definitely the leading index. And you could see the Russell, to me, looks like this is a clean breakout of a stage one base. So, Yeah, I just got to go by the charts. I don't, go by macroeconomics or narratives or anything. This is what the chart's telling me. The small caps are where the strength is. This is where people see opportunity and money is flowing, regardless of any narrative from anybody. So we have to go by the charts, and that's what the charts are telling us. And anyway, I'm going to move on because I like to cover stocks, and these it was funny because the Nasdaq today and all the indexes were up, but these mega cap tech stocks for the most part were flat. Apple was flat here, it just pulled back to the 21. I really like this chart pattern, but it's got to do something sometime soon. Microsoft, same thing, flat on the session, just pulled back to its converging. The 10 and the 21 are converging here. And that looks good to me too. So that's why I think the index is going to go higher next year, because these things are setting up. Amazon, another flat chart today, just squatting there. That thing looks good to me as well. Google, another one. These are AI kings, right? Flat in this session, as flat as a pancake, flat as you can be, and just allowing the moving averages to catch up. Has made a nice move here recently. Meta, I didn't even follow Meta today. Yeah, this is up less than 0.5%, but it's had a nice strong move and made new highs last week. So that one looks good as well. NVDA, flat. I guess you'd call that flat under 1%. Yeah, that's a nice move, 4.5. But still, setting up to me, that stock is still setting up. And that's why I think the indexes are going to go higher. These mega cap tech stocks are setting up. I'm not saying they're going to go up 40, 50%, but a 5 or 10% move would move the indexes for sure. Anyway, I get away from there because the story of the day had to be the drug stocks. Bristol Myers is going nuts with their acquisitions. They bought Karuna Therapeutics on, if I can get the ticker right, I could actually bring up the chart here. Karuna Therapeutics on Friday, and today they bought out RYZM. They're replenishing their pipeline, so they have a patent cliff coming where they're going to lose some patents on some of their big selling drugs, so they want to replenish that with some money. But you can see this little IPO base here for this stock, and be honest with you, I had not followed this IPO at all. Probably didn't fit the volume profile. I don't know. Has a 3.6 market cap now that Bristol Myers bought them. And you can see this thing ramped 100% today. So that's why, you follow the biotechs. It's a penthouse or outhouse, and these shareholders are in the penthouse today. GRCL was another one that was bought out by AstraZeneca. This is a biotech firm, Chinese clinicals, cancer drug. So anyway, AbbVie's been buying, and Pfizer and Amgen and these big pharmaceutical companies want to replenish their pipelines. They're going to be buying these little stocks here. This is even after the big move today, it's an 832 million market cap on this thing. Anyway, I thought they bought them for like 1.2 million or whatever. But anyway, it doesn't matter. It's driving this higher. The XBI, which I thought had bottomed in May of 2022 when it had this like capitulation type of selling action here. Yeah, May, big volume bars here, and it's sold off. So yeah, I put capitulation volume at new lows, but it had other ideas. It continued for another 1.5 years to just form this stage one bottom, and it's been 3 years, folks. Nearly 3 years since February of 21. So we're coming up on 3 years of this thing just selling off, correcting, bottoming, and doing nothing. And now maybe the drug stocks will start to outperform. There's a couple other ones that I wanted to show you. Rhythm, this one broke out of a base recently, just ripping to new highs. I could, like I said, I could show you a ton of stocks all day long. It'd be a 4-hour show if I wanted to convey everything that went on in the market today, but I'm not going to do that. Believe me. But there was a lot going on a day that I thought was just going to be a flat session. This is CVRX, medical systems equipment, as a heart um, um, medical product that was approved today by the FDA, and this one bounced 24%. So there's just a lot of things jumping off here. You can't try to catch, kiss all the babies or catch all of them. You just focus on your winners, keep your winners, weed your gardens, fertilize your winners and their flowers, and then cut the weeds out. Get rid of your losers, toss the losses. Anyway, that's it for the drug sector. I got to go to the oil and gas stocks, and this is the exchange traded fund seeking the spot price of oil. And I just have to point this out because the oil stocks have been making noise lately and showing some strength, and this is breaking above a downtrend line here today. Pretty significant move there, up more than 2%. This is USO, the US Oil Fund. And so I'm going to get into some stocks as the oil has shown strength recently. It looks like it had bottomed. This is Seadrill. They had news about expanding their drilling operations. You can see they've got some good sales and earnings growth profile. Drill baby drill, somebody likes it. It was up nearly 3% today. That was on our ready list. I liked that it was up on volume last week after it made this little tight little action inside day Thursday, then pop Friday, and then there was a foreshadowing today's move. So Seadrill still looks pretty good to me. Weatherford, another one of the leading stocks here at mcstockcharts.com. This one I liked as well. Now it broke above a downtrend line earlier and then kind of traded sideways last week, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and then popped today, nearly 5%. So that one looks good as well. Tidewater. This is another oil and gas field services stock set up in the base. Recently it had undercut its 50, then rallied through, and then today popped nearly 7%. So definitely these oil and gas stocks are showing strength once again, whether you like it or not. This is just what I'm seeing. I'm just reporting what I'm seeing. This is Kodiak Gas Services, another oil and gas field services stock. As they IPO'd really quietly last summer, ramped up pretty nicely up to 1979, formed this little IPO base, and it's been ramping pretty good, and it's above 20. So yeah, this has earnings and sales, and it's an IPO with it's not just it's got some some meat to it. It's not just a speculative play here. This have real earnings and sales. ETRN, this one is a little slower mover. This is a transportation and pipeline stock, and you got to be careful with these because of what's going on in the and then this Red Sea, the dry bulk shippers really got hammered. But this is an oil and gas pipeline stock, and I just like the setup on the base here with the 1048. Pulled back a little bit. Now it had this one big day and then kind of traded back to its 21 and showing strength. Just slower mover with its moving averages, and it looks pretty good to me. Anyway, I'm going to move on. I mentioned the shippers. Zim, this one had a real ramp last week because of the news, and it pulled back sharply today. Yeah, nice 11% haircut. Some of the other ones in the shipping, they didn't ramp as much as Zim, so they're not going to get hammered as much on the way down. That's Star Bulk. It was still down 2.5%. EGLE is another one. Yeah, it came down 2%. So, you got to be careful with the shipping stocks when anytime you're trading with news. Anyway, I just thought I'd throw that in there. There's just a lot going on here. So I did the drugs, I did the oil and gas, I did the shippers. I'm going to go to the retail because there are some retail stocks that I really like. And ELF is one of them that, to me, this is just setting up. I got to go to the weekly on the ELFer. This is eyes, lips, and face had this nice base and then ran for a year, and now it's pulled back and formed this 14-week base. And you can see last week it was down, today it was down. It's flat on the session, but just pulling back and squatting there at its 10. Really like the looks of this one. Now, obviously, they're not going to have earnings for a bit, but yeah, this one looks good, pinching in here. Lighter volume here. That's what you expect to see during the Christmas week, but oh well, the market's got other ideas. Alpha looks good. ON on holdings. This one pulled back with the Nike debacle. Nike's having a lot of problems. Pulled back to the 50, found support. It bounced a little bit today. It bounced a little bit Friday, then tried to bounce today, but closed at the lows of the session there. I don't like that inverted hammer candle, but I'm still going to leave that on the watch list. I'm watching that stock. TJX. This one just setting up in a base here. Got to go to the weekly chart. TJX companies, you can see this little flat base. First of all, it had this big consolidation, then ran higher, had this 3 weeks tight, and then pulled back into this flat base area. But TGX still looks good to me. The retail apparel and shoes. Apparently, the consumer was pretty busy over the holidays, and the retail sales were up for this Christmas season. Bros is another one. Haven't talked about this one in a while, but I like these smaller cap names here as we go into 2024. I'm gonna try to swing for the fences. This one, I just noticed that it had made these lows and it's making these higher lows, right? Bros, so it had made this bottom there, higher lows, ramped up and then pulled back for like 4 sessions to 21, then bounced with a little bit of volume. And then on Friday had even more volume. Today it was, flat on the session, but definitely one to watch. And that's Bros play. Dave and Buster's, this one broke out after earnings. This one's not looking back. This is one where, you ride your winners, right? There's nothing to do here. Let it go. When you're weeding your garden, if you're owning this one, you're not doing anything with that. Just let that thing run for you for a little bit. And then Texas Roadhouse is another one, broke out of a base and then ramping higher. Nothing to do there. And I like that's the opposite of what we just saw with ONON. That's a candle which closed near the high of its session here. I want to get the exact percentage here. Yeah, 95% of the daily range, so it closed near the high, so that should bode well maybe for tomorrow. We'll see. Anyway, that's it for the retail stocks. I got to go to the cybersecurity names. CrowdStrike. This one, once again, if you own this one and it's running, you just let it run. I like this action here, how it pulled back. It ran up last week and then just pulled back to the 10 real quietly here, real quiet, whisper quiet volume. And then today bounced a little bit, but I expect a real significant bounce there and new highs from CrowdStrike. OKTA is a stock that we have on our ready list, and you think, wow, Zscaler, Palo Alto Networks, and CrowdStrike, and CyberArk, they've all ripped, and this one hasn't done anything. It must be a laggard. Well, not really. I mean, sometimes these stocks just take a little longer to set up, and in 2024, maybe Crowd and Palo Alto and Zscaler will pause and form a base, and this one will start ripping. So you just got to pay attention here. This one looks good. It's set up near that buy area. So OKTA, I like. Sentinel-1, just another one. If you own it, just let it go. It just wants higher prices. I was waiting for it to pull back to the 10, but it's not listening to me. It's going to do what it wants to do and not what I want it to do. Palo Alto Networks. Much like CrowdStrike and Zscaler, where they're just pulling back. I kind of like this pinching action on really super light volume for Palo Alto. So I like the looks of that going forward, maybe for next year. I'm going to go to some of the software names. Datadog. Another one that I think is set up. I got to go to the weekly on these charts here. Always look at the weekly charts. There you can see this massive cup with handle pattern. This thing I don't think is broken out yet. Snowflake. Another one on the weekly. It's a nice stage 1 base, and this one looks like it's getting ready to break out. And, if you own it, you say, hey man, if you own it from back here, it's looking good. You can just ride it. If you don't own it, I'm interested in owning it myself and buying it right at these levels, right there around 200. This is a JFrog. It broke out last week. Now it's holding its gains. Had an inside day on Friday, and just holding its gains. Frogs looks good to me. And MDB, MongoDB, pulled back to its moving average, and it was up a couple percent today. This looks good. I got to show the weeklies, even though it's a daily review. There's your stage 2 base, nice cup and pullback. MongoDB looks pretty good to me. And that's it for me today. There's a lot going on, but I gotta cut it off right there. And I did mention about holding on to your winners and letting the trend be your friend and don't fight the tape and all those phrases. So in honor of the great Steve Jobs, I have one more thing. If you're holding these winning stocks like AMD, which is broken out, now it's, pulled back to its 10 one day, it's making new highs. There's nothing to do here. I mean, unless, as the calendar turns to January and you want to take some risk off, to trim some, that's always prudent. And I'll be doing some of that before the calendar changes next week, because I want to take some risk off the table. I've had a real strong run here, but I don't want to sell this stock. I just want to trim it a little bit. The more the more highs that it makes, the bigger it gets in my portfolio. Anyway, Team is another one. I don't own this one, but broke out, running higher. Nothing to do here. Just watch this thing go higher. AAOI is another one. It's up like 70% this month. I think something like that, 72%, not bad. Yeah, it looks like a little, high tight flag pattern here. It's really super strong stock, so definitely one to watch. But if you own it, there's nothing to do. If you don't own it, it looks like it's pulling back to the 10, kind of like AFRM has been doing, right? After the breakout, it's not really giving you a chance. Every now and again, it'll pull back to its 10, and that's when it gives you a chance. Otherwise, that thing's just trending higher. These are nice trends, my friends. GitLab, this one broke out and pull back to the 10, kind of like AFRM, right? Found support and just keeps bouncing. And as long as those 10 is going higher, your stock is going higher, and your portfolio is growing. So these are the types of stocks that you don't want to weed out too much. And this is VRT, Vertiv Holdings, another one just trending higher. They've got the nice growth profile, and just it looks good to me. I mean, the trend is your friend. Abercrombie and Fitch. This is the biggest winner in the S&P 500 this year, and that's one heck of a trend, and that's a long trend. Looks like ELF. Cyber, I mentioned that one earlier. CYBR, CyberArk Software, this one broke out of a base. This one looks like CrowdStrike, Zscaler, and even better, this one made a new high today. So, nice strong group, strong stock and a strong group. I didn't get to the air conditioning stocks today. There's just too much to get to it. Another trend here, Modine Manufacturing, nothing to do here. Linux, once again, breakout, pull back one day, and then just trending higher. Wingstop, got to get to more retail restaurants. Just the trend is your friend. You can see this big base. That's a big base and a breakout, and now it's trending higher. So the market is in really good shape. A lot of people are doing well. Just holding on to the winners. You don't have to hang on to losers. And this is Zscaler. I mentioned it quite a few times, so I just wanted to show this. And it was up more than 1% today. I believe it made a new high. I want to say it made a new high. 224.95. No, it didn't. No, it didn't. Maybe tomorrow. Anyway, that's it for me today. Yeah, Santa Claus rally is underway, and things are looking good for the market. Probably going to change next week with the calendar with some tax loss selling, but we just take things one day at a time. And today on the Nasdaq, we just had really strong volume. So this looks really good. This is a heck of a power trend. And at mcstockcharts.com, we wish you happy holidays and a happy new year. And the market sure is happy. So we never give up. Thank you for watching.